This message is brought to you by Avocado Mattress.
Avocado Mattress is inviting you to come lie down. And if healthy, comfortable sleep matters to you, this is one organic brand worth knowing. Avocado mattresses are crafted with natural materials, organic latex, organic wool, and organic cotton, designed to be naturally cooling, incredibly supportive, and long-lasting. They're certified organic by GOTS and meet MadeSafe standards for safety without sacrificing comfort. Avocado mattresses come in 5 comfort levels, from firm to medium and ultra plush, a feel for every body. Come lie down. Feel what certified organic actually feels like in person. Just visit avocadogreenmattress.com to find an avocado experience center or premier retailer near you. Shop the Labor Day sale now and get up to 20% off at avocadogreenmattress.com or select retailers nationwide. That's avocadogreenmattress.com to get 20% off. avocadogreenmattress.com.
On today's episode of The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with yours truly, Dr. Elizabeth Rogers, I am joined by my ER counterpart, Diehl Resnick. Elizabeth is such a joy, and we are both very energized and enthusiastic, so I hope you're ready for a big boost of positive energy on this episode. Elizabeth is a 56-year-old double certified health coach and author who loves teaching women of all ages to love their bodies and their lives. Elizabeth's brand, Happy, Healthy, and Hot, is a unique combination of mindset, nutrition, and fitness that works. Elizabeth's clients achieve much more than weight loss. They report increased confidence, better energy, and an overall vitality that they never anticipated. Elizabeth coaches clients from all over the world. She's been featured on TV and numerous podcasts, and in 2020, she was a finalist in the Maxim CoverGirl competition in her 50s. Wow. This is an incredible woman, and I can't wait for you to meet her. There's so much value that you're going to get in this episode. One of my favorite things is the discussion Elizabeth has with me around appreciation versus gratitude. And there's so much, but I just want you to dive right in and enjoy. One of my favorite things that Elizabeth and I discuss is how we can allow everything, especially our health and well-being, to be easier, to be simple. And this is an episode where you'll be listening to not one, but 2 women who have been there and done that. We both have been broken. We both have had health setbacks. We both have been what appears to be healthy and had it all together on the outside, while our internal health and well-being absolutely did not match. So I can't wait for you to listen. Enjoy this episode. And I'll end with my favorite quote before you start. This comes from Elizabeth inside of this episode, and it's the Wallace Wattles quote: "The best thing you can do for the whole world is make the most of yourself." Welcome to The Bridge, the show that bridges the gap between Eastern and Western medicine, science and spirituality, physical and energetic health. If you're a leader seeking to heal from within, ultimately achieving the pinnacle of health and well-being for your mind, body, and spirit, then rest assured, this show is tailored just for you. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Rogers, the Sherlock Holmes of health. I'm a trailblazing Harvard-trained epidemiologist turned transformational health coach. Basically, I find the clues that every other healthcare practitioner missed because they were looking in the wrong place. So welcome to today's episode of The Bridge. And I am so honored to have my guest here, the beautiful Elizabeth. Elizabeth, I'm so happy you're here with us today. You and I have a lot of really important things to talk about.
We do. And I am so excited to be here with another Elizabeth.
I know, this is awesome. And we both go by Elizabeth, everyone, just so you know.
Yes.
Which, if to those of you who are also Elizabeths out there, is not necessarily typical, right? There's like all these nicknames that's the thing. If you got named Elizabeth and you don't really like that name, there are literally like over a dozen things you could call yourself.
Yes.
And when Elizabeth and I met, I always ask other Elizabeths, what do you go by? Because there's so many variations. There's Betty, Beth. I was called Betsy once, so apparently Betsy is one.
Mm-hmm.
Liz, Lizzie, Eliza. I mean, there's so many things. But when I met Elizabeth and she told me she goes by Elizabeth, I was like,
yes. It's
nerd out over that.
I will my family, some people shorten it to Liz. And so I
Yes.
recognize that that's fine. I will sign things E. But then if somebody throws in any other name, they try to call me Beth or Betsy, and I don't know who they're talking to. I don't know who they're talking to.
I'll never forget, before we dive in, I'll never forget when I was in the hospital after my near-death experience. You know, I was in there long-term. So I had like over half a dozen procedures afterwards. And so I was constantly in and out of the hospital. So I got to know the staff very well. And I'll never forget being there one time post-op, and a nurse I'd never met before came in and just walked in the door, and she was like, Betsy. And that was the first time I'd ever heard Betsy. And just she was so confident that that was what my name was. And I can remember thinking, like, what? Like, who?
Who are you talking to?
So I love that we share that in common.
Yes.
So everyone, I just want to share that I strongly anticipate that say is one of those keys. And of course, if you have more, then tell us.
Well, I'm sure I probably have more than 10, but the one that I'm going to tell you that comes to mind first, and this is for everything in life, is appreciation. Appreciation. More than even gratitude, because we talk about gratitude a lot, and gratitude can sometimes sound like work or a chore coming up. And don't get me wrong, I love a good gratitude list, but appreciation. And, you know, when you think about, and I can certainly give you some examples of like how this exists in my life, but for myself and with my clients and with all of us, appreciation for where we are in the moment and where we are in the journey. Because the fact of the matter is, like, for somebody who's not well, the goal at that point is to be healthy. You know, if you're sick and you want to be healthy, you think that's the goal. But then when you're healthy, you want more. You want more energy, more vitality. You want to feel better. So to me, this appreciating where you are in the moment. And the word appreciation is actually, when you think about things appreciate, they go up in value. So we are valuing what we have. And so when we can build that into our day, it just makes the moments so beautiful. And I think it just adds this energy. If we're appreciating the beautiful food that we're eating, like that has to make it better for us. But just something that comes to mind for me today.
Yeah.
I live in Pennsylvania. I know you were just in Pennsylvania. So it's been cold and gray and dreary here. And I've been appreciating that. I've been appreciating what is coming and some of these cozy days inside. But this morning, I woke up early, as I do. It's still dark. I could hear the birds chirping outside my window and just appreciated that. Bundled up because it's still chilly here. Took my little dog Tyson out for our walk, and the sun was coming up, and I could just appreciate seeing natural light for the first time in a couple of days. Appreciate what that was doing for me. Really lighting me up on many levels. Came inside and made one of my little morning rituals is after I go out for this walk is to get back in bed with some coffee and my journal and just spend that really quiet, delicious time. And, I was appreciating every moment. The first, that first sip of coffee or tea or whatever you drink, whatever your morning beverage is, the first sip is the best sip.
Totally.
And getting back in my under the blankets. I'm never one that's going to fall back to sleep. So it's like getting back, getting cozy with my journal and my coffee and just appreciating that moment.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of my keys to health, wellness, vitality, aging beautifully. All of these things is appreciating where we are and then being enthusiastic for where we're going.
Appreciation and enthusiasm. No wonder that you're one of my soul sisters. I have to tell you, my friend, that is such a beautiful paradigm shift. I've never, ever in my life yet or in my career had anyone bring this word and topic up in an intentional way like this. And you're just filling my heart and soul right now. It's true. We talk about gratitude a lot. And I do myself, I'll be the first to say here and we're not saying gratitude's not important, right? It's extremely important because it puts you in this very particular feeling state that also helps bring you to a certain vibration, helps you attract the kind of reality that you really want to create, right? And we spend so much time in a negative place inside of our minds, which is what I want to ask you. This leads me to my next question. So there's a couple of things you're making me think of is when I think of appreciation and the way that you're talking about it, first, it takes a certain level of awareness and intention to have that appreciation. And to me, I feel like that must come along with a certain level of inner growth and health, right? Like before Elizabeth and I started talking, we were talking and she and I have bonded over this many times that, we tend to focus so much on the physical when it comes to our health and well-being, especially women, right? What do we look like? How fit are we? What do our bodies look and feel like? The outside. But when you have appreciation, that takes something deeper. That takes something more that comes from your internal health and well-being. And I think that is, to me, like you said, I've never heard anyone say that key, but if I could go write a book right now, hint, maybe I will, about the 10 keys to healthy aging, this will always have to be one of them. I'd love to ask you, how did you come to this place where you recognized that appreciation was a key to health and well-being and longevity?
100%. Because it's interesting because a friend of mine asked me a similar question, said, have you always been this optimistic, this positive? So I would say yes and no. I believe that we come out of the womb enthusiastic about life. As babies, you're so happy. You're the girl that got in trouble in kindergarten for being too happy. So we are born happy, enthusiastic, excited about life. We're born confident. We are born confident, enthusiastic, excited about life. And then I used to say the world takes it away from us. We let the world take it away from us, but it gets chipped away at. And yes, we allow that, but we're not maybe in a place to even realize this. So yes, I think we are. I think that I am the silver lining, the glass half full girl. Always. Yes, I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
But I have gone through some hard times. I've been through some really dark stuff, and I know every single person listening has, but I was definitely at a place where on the outside, everything looked fine.
Yeah.
And I even believed that, well, if everybody would just eat right and, move their bodies, everything would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Me too.
I realized that I was this person who looked like she had it all together, but was in a very unhealthy relationship that I take full responsibility for, was in struggling with anxiety, really sometimes crippling anxiety that people would have been shocked to hear this, was dealing with digestive issues. Again, some physically caused by some foods I was eating, but a lot of it was the anxiety, the stress, that all the things that I was internalizing. And then I also, while I was good at covering up for literally decades, suffered from chronic cystic acne. So I had that I was always so self-conscious about, and always feeling like I had to be, am I covered? Am I hiding this well? Yes, I think I was born appreciating life as everybody is.
Yeah.
And then I got to this place where I'm holding it all together and appear like I've got it all, but I'm crumbling inside. And, it's funny, even the name of my business, Happy, Healthy, and Hot,
I love it.
It's a cute name. And I literally, when I said it, I channeled the name. Like it just kept coming to me. But it starts with, it's the mindset, nutrition, and fitness. And it starts with happy for a reason. And it's not that we need to be happy all of the time. We need to feel all of the feelings, but that it starts in here, and in here. That's what's important. And then that's what radiates out here. I look at old pictures of myself that aren't 6-7 years ago. And I was such a different person 8-9 years ago, especially, like, I'm smiling. It's a whole different smile.
You can see.
I can see the pain in my eyes.
Yep. I feel like you're telling my story. because you and I have lived very parallel experiences in that way. And I can absolutely relate to you, Elizabeth, because this Elizabeth used to do the same thing. I was on the outside, appeared to have it all together. At that point, I'd gone through my near-death experience. I'd gotten through, I'd already made the decision that I was going to put myself back together again and had that big aha moment. But then, my journey wasn't like, to all of our listeners, it wasn't like overnight. I was like, I healed my root causes and here I am and I've healed myself from the inside out. Like, we're talking, this was like a decade-long journey. And now that's why I'm here to help you all compress time. That's what Elizabeth and I are here to help you all do, compress time and not make the same mistakes that we did, so that you can get there faster and with less challenges. But I was very much that woman. I appeared to be on the outside to have it all together. And on the inside, though, I was very broken, anxiety, depression. And for me, the way I would cope with that was I would go into hiding. So because then I could keep that outward appearance. And when I knew I wasn't okay enough to keep that appearance on the outside, then I would shut down and just isolate myself from the whole world. So if I just didn't show up anywhere for anyone or talk to anyone, then nobody knew, right? Mm-hmm. And then as soon as I was starting to come out, I'd dust myself off and put myself back together again and put myself back out there and no one would know, right? But I also, like you, am that inherent, everyone already knows I was put in timeout when I was in kindergarten. I've told that story on this show already. And I've always been that way. And to be honest, I am still that way to this day. Like, lots of people will ask me, are you for real? Why are you so nice? Why are you so nice? Are you just always that happy and enthusiastic? And that's one of the things you and I share in common. Maybe it's an Elizabeth thing, but I share that too. So I'm just naturally happy, enthusiastic. I still I've never lost really my childlike wonder for the world. I get really excited about silly things, so I get what you're saying. You and I had that nature that was part of who we've always been, but that didn't mean that alongside of that being our natural state, that we would come out of alignment with that natural state and go into those places where we were not aligned in mind and spirit. We had the body part together, but mind, body, and spirit need to all be aligned, 100%. And we were not. So I just thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being a mirror for me, because it helps me to feel comfortable sharing that I've been there and done that too. And you're bringing up a really important question I'd love to ask you next, which is, given what you and I have just shared about ourselves and our experiences, and that neither of us were always just in this natural internal state of balance and alignment and happiness and appreciation, would you say that somewhere along your journey, was there a moment or an event that was that wake up call for you? I'd love to know if you can come to that space, if you can share that with us. When was the time? What was the thing? What happened? What was going on that finally you woke up one day or came to this awareness that oh, it's not just all about my fitness. It's not just all about what I'm eating and what I'm drinking. Oh, it's not just about that, because now I'm seeing that there's something else still missing here.
There were several wake up calls. I'm going to address kind of one. There's probably a lot of them, but anyway. So I was in an unhealthy marriage, and again, so there I was putting on this show of how the nice house and the beautiful family and the car, nice cars in the garage and the country club and all of that. And it was all, putting on and really, really struggling on the inside. And that was when I started to realize that it's not even just how I look on the outside or how healthy is the food that I'm eating and I'm working out, but that I'm falling apart inside. But then so I had this feeling, it was very, very hard to leave. But I really thought that when I left this unhealthy situation and I got away from that, my life was, even though I knew that there would be struggles and challenges, I thought that I would suddenly be getting all these prizes from the universe because I made the big, bold move. And because at the time I was kind of being sold that, even in the coaching industry and everything, you see a lot of stuff.
I've been there.
Make the big, bold move.
And then
so
all of a sudden the universe is going to send you all the gifts and all the money and all the things, and everything is going to be beautiful, and you'll manifest your dreams.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I really thought, first of all, this was just when I was starting my business. I had earned my first health coaching certification. I had my website and I was writing these blog posts and really having a good time with this. And I really thought that when I leave this situation, everything is going to blow up for me and my life is going to be magical because I'm getting away from this unhealthy situation. Well, here's the thing. You're taking your vibration with you. So I still I'm thinking this relationship is the problem. I'm not the problem. So I don't have any work to do. I've done the work. Of course, I've always been on this ongoing journey, but I'm really thinking when I get away from this, and it could be the relationship for somebody else, it could be a job, or it could be it's my employer. They're so horrible. Once I get out of this situation, but here's the thing, we will keep attracting the same stuff. So I got away from that and thought, okay, here I am, world. I wasn't just ready, so it was a lot of feeling the feelings, feeling all these feelings that I'd been suppressing. It was learning that I have to be able to hold this dark stuff and sit with it and not try to fix it and suppress it or cover it up and go out and present myself to the world, but just be like, it's okay to feel the hard stuff. There was a loneliness of creating this space in my life to then allow some new things in, but I had to sit with a lot of emptiness, to not fill my schedule so much, to not always busy myself, to say it's okay to just be here. So, I mean, I literally moved into a townhouse with like no furniture. No, it was a hard, I went through some very hard things, but I had to sit with some of that and just say, I'm sad. I'm wrapped up in a blanket and I'm really sad. And it's okay that I'm really sad.
Yes.
I'm not trying to fix being sad. It used to be, oh, let me say a positive affirmation. No, I'm sad and it's okay. And I'm going to be okay. And I had to process a lot and feel a lot and realize that I had to allow myself to feel these feelings that it was never even safe to feel because I was keeping myself together and I had to, it was a survival mechanism. I had kids to take care of.
Exactly.
So it was allowing myself to go to these darker places, to feel these feelings and recognize that there is beauty in this pain, that we need to feel this. And then ultimately it can fuel us, that then being maybe frustrated with where we are, or even even some anger, which is something that I really never allowed myself to feel, can be healthy because that's lifting us up out of that sadness and that despair. And then, taking some messy action and making some things happen, and then getting to this point where you're just finding this, you're seeing that there's beauty in that pain. You're seeing that you can feel sad and feel lonely and still feel good going out for a walk and feeling the sun on your body and the sun on your face. And it's just finding that balance, and then eventually getting to that point is every day happy and beautiful and magical. No, it's not. But I have so many days that are, because I'm in this state of appreciation and enthusiasm. And again, I really feel that this is something that I've been tapping into lately. I've been saying, thank you more, please. That's just one of my favorites.
I love that. I'm writing that down. Thank you more, please.
Like when something is good, like this is so good and I want more. I want more. That was another lesson that I really had to learn, is it's okay to want more. I think as women, we are, again, you were put in timeout.
Amen, sister.
So I was afraid to really shine. These are lessons we get even from well-meaning parents. Don't shine, but don't shine too brightly. You don't want to make that person feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite quotes is from Wallace Wattles in the book, The Science of Growing Rich. The Science of Getting Rich. I think is better than Think and Grow Rich. I think this book is such an untapped secret to everything in life. But he said, the quote that literally gave me the chills and that I say to myself almost every day is, in the States back to 1910, the best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself.
Oh,
And that gave
that
me
down.
permission to be happy, to be bold, to be silly, to not worry about so much about toning myself down so I didn't turn some people off. It's okay for us to be happy and excited and jumping up and down because we're so happy and excited about something. And if that makes somebody a little uncomfortable because they're not in that place, that's okay. Maybe that triggering them a little bit is ultimately going to help them. Or maybe it's not. It's not our job to save everybody and fix everybody. I know we've had that conversation a little bit before, but us dimming ourselves and toning ourselves down and keeping quiet, not saying, sharing what we want to share, that's not helping anybody.
No, it's not.
And it's not helping ourselves.
No, it's not. This is all so incredibly important. There's so many things that I want to touch on with what you said. And one of the things is, going back to that permission that you gave yourself. Oh, how there's so many women out there experiencing everything you described, the stress, the anxiety, the inconsistent energy, even the recognition, whether they're admitting it to themselves yet or not, but the recognition deep down inside that the environment they're in, whether that's, like you said, it can be any kind of environment, relationships, jobs, homes, it doesn't matter. It's not an environment in which they can heal and become optimally healthy and well.
Yeah.
And you gave yourself that permission. And I love that. And I think that's so important because if we don't allow ourselves to digest our emotions, then we're hanging on to them and shoving them away. And like you're getting at, that's only doing us a disservice. At some point, that stuff will come back to haunt us. And that can be in a lot of ways because energy is what is at the root of everything, right? We are all energy. That energy can quite literally start to transform into chronic physical, mental, or emotional symptoms, right?
Yes.
And so how many women are doing that, right? You said like being inside a relationship, especially when you have kids, and you just keep going through the motions and you're just putting one foot in front of the other and probably reaching for lots of artificial energizers, reaching for lots of band-aids, reaching for lots of things because it's easier to just get through the day doing those things, right? And we've all been there. It's easier to get through the day doing those things than to actually, in the midst of all the other stuff going on in your external world, go and find some way that you're going to sit down, give yourself some space and quiet and allow yourself to just feel it.
Yeah.
Cry, get angry, get pissed, let it out. And we have to, as people in general, as human beings, we have to digest our emotions. And in a way, what you were doing was actually allowing yourself to digest and process and then release them.
Yes.
And then if you think about it, composting, right? Now, all of a sudden we've digested it and now we actually get to compost the crap that we were hanging on to all that time. And think about this, everyone. Like,
I love this.
Think about this, how all of our shit can still serve us when we allow ourselves to feel it, digest it, process it. And just like, think about what do we compost with? We literally compost with shit.
Yes.
And all those, and yes, there's nutrients, there's good things in the soil, but there's shit too. And that creates compost. And guess what compost does? It plants the seeds and the foundation for new growth, for new health, for new healing. And that is the gift that you gave yourself when you started to allow yourself that permission to really feel it. Yeah. However, you and I both know, because we do the work, that giving yourself that permission and allowing yourself to feel it is not easy. And it can be very hard to sit with those emotions, to allow yourself to feel them without starting to think, okay, I can't, I'm going to just shut it back down, go numb myself somehow. I'm going to just distract myself. And how How did you allow yourself to just make that shift and to start taking, I think what you said, so important, to take messy action, right? There's no perfect action. So you don't need to be waiting for the day that all of a sudden you find somebody like one of us and you think, oh, she can help me. She can support me, right? You can start doing the work now. So how did you allow yourself to make that shift? Like, how did you give yourself that permission? And, like, what kind of advice would you give to the women listening who want to take a step, but they just don't know what step to take first to do that?
Yeah, few things. I would encourage everybody to, I always say, connect before you consume.
Oh,
so have some quiet time.
Oh,
I love it.
God, I love that.
But, so I come up with phrases in my, like, things pop into my head, and then there's simple little catchphrases that stick with me and work. And some of them are very healthy, nutrition related. I always say prioritize protein and produce, but so connect before you consume. So to take this time in the morning to connect with yourself. And first of all, as you do start a healing process, having that time, you get to fill yourself up before the world comes at you. So you get to create this, and I kind of sometimes think of it as I'm getting my pink Elizabeth bubble, but it's just like you get to really build this. It's a beautiful bubble around yourself. So when you get up in the morning, don't even look at, yes, an alarm may go off and you turn off your phone, but to not check your phone, not get on social media, don't check email, texts, and news. God forbid, don't look at the news. I don't even have a TV. So
we don't watch TV either. I love that.
I love it. So to fill yourself up first. And, I understand for somebody really busy, I don't like to use the word busy. I like to say full, somebody with a full day, but it's like,
oh, I love that.
For the mom of young children or whatever, it might be 5 minutes. It might be setting an alarm. It is worth it to get up earlier and have a few moments to yourself to quietly breathe, to enjoy that first sip of coffee that we know is the best sip, to say something positive to yourself as you're getting out of bed in the morning. Like for me now, I've created this beautiful morning ritual that on some days is longer than others, depending on what I have going on. But to know that I'm going to connect with myself, with God, with, filling myself up, and then I can go into the world, whatever that means, whether it's hopping on my client calls, whether it's going out to, to a meeting, to an appointment, anything, but I filled myself up first. So I'm going to do that certainly before I check anything on social media. And I use social media in a very positive way, as I know you do, but it could be that I don't need to see any of that first thing. I don't need to see who emailed me. And I have a rule that there are a few very close people. If they see that they've texted me, I would check the text because
that's different.
They're not physically in proximity to me. Mm-hmm. Like my sister and I talk multiple times a day. We're extremely connected. So like I would check texts from some family members. My daughter and I have a little tradition of sending each other pictures of our dogs in the morning. So
that's so sweet.
It's what we do. It's just what we do. So, there's certainly because if these people were with me in real life, of course, I would say good morning. But I would still be having my quiet time. So that I think I would encourage anybody out there, anybody listening, if there is the very first step is give yourself if it's even just a few precious moments in the morning to connect with yourself. A little question that I love to ask myself. And again, some days this may not feel good if you are in a darker place, but as because the more you practice this, the mornings they feel good. How good can it get today? How good can it get today? Ask yourself that to get out of bed, because when you are putting that out there, you are literally saying, universe, surprise and delight me. I am expecting some amazing things. And then it gets good. You don't know what bird are you going to see when you look out the window?
I love that.
What song are you going to hear when you get in your car? It could just be these little things that are exactly, I mean, I love it when I get in the car and I turn on music and the first song that comes on, I was like, oh my gosh, that was exactly what I needed in this moment. Like, that's a sign. I needed to hear that specific lyric. I needed to feel this in my body. So when you're expecting, how good can it get today? Like, it's going to get good. It is going to get good. And even the hard things, if you are you know that they're happening for a reason.
Yeah.
It's either you're being redirected or it's a, hey, you're stuck in traffic. Okay, either this is happening to protect me, or maybe it's reminding me that I need to start leaving earlier because I have a habit of this or whatever. But to look at all of these things as signs, as lessons, as redirections that we need in our life.
You're touching on one of my highest values, which I've already talked about on this show, which is connection.
Yes.
And you just, I feel like, got to another key of health and longevity, which is our connection. And to me, connection means more than just one thing. First of all, it's our connection to ourselves, first and foremost. And then it's our connection to others. And then it's our connection to source, universe, God, whatever you call that.
Yes.
And I just want to, I want to talk about this. A couple of things that I think you're highlighting that are so important. First, health and well-being, like I've talked about before, is your natural state. And what you are doing every day is you're, to me, intentionally aligning yourself with that natural state before you do or be anything else. And that is, I think, one big thing that a lot of us are missing, because and I love the frame shift you offered around the word busy, because I can't tell you how often someone comes into my practice and it's, I'm too busy. I'm busy. And it might trigger some of you to hear this, but it's an excuse.
Yes.
And in the busyness of our lives, the thing we sacrifice the most, ladies and gentlemen, our connection to and relationship with ourselves. So you make that connection first and foremost. And then to me, what it leads you to do is because you stay in that natural state of alignment, then you go out into the world and to me, that connection is also taking you out of victim mentality. So rather than driving down the road and thinking, oh geez, here comes the traffic. Oh my God, like this instead of everything happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yes.
And to me, that is just so incredibly important. And I just wanted to highlight what I'm receiving from you.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was a huge mindset shift for me. And I first heard Tony Robbins say that things are happening. They're not happening to you. They're happening for you. And I thought, oh, what are you talking about, Tony?
It's triggering for some people to hear that for the first time. So like, how dare you?
I was in this relationship and all these things happened to me. And then I realized that, first of all, we are magnets. We are attracting constantly.
You pointed that out. Exactly.
And then it's like, but when you start looking at everything happening for you, it puts things in a whole new light, and you can appreciate the beauty of that moment, no matter how hard it is. And when I have been at some of my, what I would call really high moments, really feeling so good. And I mean, I feel so good so much that it feels so good. It's like, but
I love you so much.
I can see how, if I hadn't been going through some of this stuff, really dark stuff that I couldn't get to this stuff.
Absolutely.
If I hadn't had this one really dark moment, I wouldn't have finally made this change. And as a result, now I'm enjoying this amazing connection with amazing people. So it all,
absolutely.
Everything is, I believe, another affirmation I use all the time. I'm a big affirmation girl. And I will say, so another one I use a lot is everything is always working out for me. And I truly believe that
it is.
But I also believe with using affirmations, we can only if we're saying them and they don't feel good to us, they're not helping us in any way. So we need to, there are times if you are having if you're struggling, if you're going through something difficult, just to wake up and say something like, I'm okay, I am safe, I am loved. Or another one I love is, I am willing for this to be easier and more magical than I can imagine. So when and that one works.
I'm writing that down.
Because we tell ourselves these stories. We get in a difficult situation, and it could be little or big. But let's start with something little, because we were just talking about this Mercury retrograde and
we were before we started recording.
Okay. So I tell a story a lot.
Yeah.
Because that I'm bad with technology. All this stuff stresses me out. I don't like it. I used to say I'd be further ahead in my business if someone could do this stuff for me, like that. So I tell myself that story and I make things harder and I put them off. I make them more difficult. So I've started. I also don't like administrative tasks of any kind.
I do not.
Putting that out there. So what I have learned is that I was making many of these things harder than they needed to be. So
we are so alike.
Phone calls, things like that. I don't like making phone calls, other than to my friends. So I've started saying before I hop in a call to deal with a situation, that's just a thing that I have to.
Yeah.
I'm willing for this to be easier and more magical than I can imagine. And then I just expect that the person answering the phone is going to be amazing. I've put out a new vibration, a new expectation. If I'm on hold, I'm like, how can I make the best of this? And then here's what I do that makes it even better. It's a little game that I play now. So now I'm expecting to have great service on the phone.
Yeah.
And so now I do, where before I would tell a story, all these people are rude. Nobody wants to help me. So now I'm expecting to have great service on the phone or in the, whatever the store that I'm going into that I don't want to deal with. So then I get this great service. So then I say, thank you so much. You have been so helpful. I would like to tell your manager, your supervisor, who can I talk to? Because they're getting so many complaints. So then I get an email or a phone up, or they're like, I can put you through their voicemail or here's their email. And then I go ahead and do that immediately. And that is just putting this, and I'm not saying I'm so great for doing this. I'm saying it feels so good.
Yeah.
For me, I'm doing this for me even more than I'm doing it for them, because it feels good to me to spread this. And then I've gotten the most lovely emails back sometimes from people saying, I had the most amazing service, the friendliest, most helpful service at a bank recently, which is, again, I tell myself stories that going to the bank, the bank is terrible. I don't want to deal with this.
Especially now with everything going on in the world, right? Where everybody's like, ugh,
the bank. Okay.
Yeah.
I had the most lovely service. And I said, I asked this woman, who can I talk to? Because you have gone so above and beyond anything I ever expected and made this. And so she gave me her manager's number. I immediately called him. He called me back. We had a great conversation. Since then, the vibes at this bank, I can't even tell you how amazing it is. So it's like we get to these little things that used to annoy us, and maybe sometimes do. We can catch ourselves in that moment and say, how can I make this better? How can I make this happier? How can I make this, how can I make this fun?
How can I tell myself a story that makes this better, that makes this different, better, serves me? Something else that you're making pop into my head is, as you're talking about this and you're sharing about connection, I want to stay on this theme, because I think that for a lot of people, they can still subconsciously maybe battle against these things we're saying, like, oh, I should put myself first. But when you have that program ingrained in you so deeply that we should be doing and serving and taking care of everybody else, and it's selfish to take care of me and all of that stuff, I think that some people like to hear validation or proof. And it just came to me that there is a way we can share that with people. And it's through talking about the ripple effect of what you've done for yourself. So what I'd love to ask you next is, as you made all of these changes and continue to create optimal health from the inside out, Can you think of any kind of stories or things that you noticed that you could share with our audience that you noticed the impact, the positive impact it was having in your environment or in the lives of other people around you that you interacted with? Because here's the thing is that we have to, as leaders, we have to go first. And we have to put ourselves first. And it's when we do that, like you said, we take our vibration and our frequency with us everywhere we go. And when we start to shift who and how we're being on the inside, it quite literally changes our frequency. And because like attracts like, as we are putting out a different frequency, it's impacting the lives of everything and everyone around us. And so to that point, I'd love to know, like, did you notice the ripple effect? I'm 100% sure you did. And that could have been in your clients, in your home environment, and in any capacity. But could you talk about that at all?
100%. The ripple effect is so real and it's everywhere. It's in my home environment. Before we even talk about people.
Yeah. Yeah. Take us all the places.
I'm going to give you on this just a quick story.
Yeah.
That I could go on and on about. But when I left my marriage, the way I did it, it had to be done. And it was hard the way I did it, but I moved into an empty townhouse. It was very quick and sudden. Mm-hmm. And I was very unhappy here because it felt like a major downgrade from where I had been. And I literally didn't have furniture. I had a friend gave me some like 1970s kitchen chairs and that were really ugly. And I was given some hand-me-downs from friends and family members. And you're so great. I appreciate all of that.
Yeah.
But then it got to a point where seeing some of those things brought me down and I made some upgrades. But what I would say now, so I always thought I have to get out of this place. I'm not, I'm just here this is temporary. Mm-hmm. Okay. I know that it's temporary. Everything's temporary, but here I am. It's 7 years later. I'm actually still living in this house, which is now the most beautiful, magical space. Ugh. And when I say,
wow.
People, for me, so I made it, it's like I walk in and it gives me a hug and I love it. And yes, I'm a little messy and cluttered. I'm a naturally messy person, but I do better when spaces are clear. So I work on, straightening things up. So it makes me happy. But when I tell you like my plants are thriving, I'm looking at, I'll sometimes say, how is this possible? But it's because there's this vibration here. And I've literally attracted so many things into my life. I was one day, talking to a friend in the car after a hike. And I was saying, I need to burn some sage, but I want some really pretty sage. I need some pretty sage. And when I tell you, you can't make this stuff up, Elizabeth, my friend Andrea in Arizona, my beautiful friend Andrea, she didn't hear this conversation.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that she makes pretty sage.
Oh
she
my gosh.
sent me pretty sage.
No.
That she made from sage that she grew. So
you cannot make this stuff up, folks. You can't make this stuff up.
I attract, I'll speak. And the reason I think we have these almost instant manifestations sometimes is because there's no resistance. I'm just like, I want some pretty sage. Like I'm literally saying, I want pretty sage to burn. I want pretty sage for my house. I'm not worried where am I finding pretty sage. There's no true need for pretty sage.
Right. You weren't in like a scarcity neediness type of energy, which will absolutely repel what we want. You were in just like I don't need it, but
it would be so much fun. Pretty sage to make me happy.
Wouldn't it be fun if I had a bunch of pretty sage? Yeah.
So now I have this pretty sage. So I'm telling you, like my plants, I know it's the sage I'm burning and the way I'm saying, oh my gosh, you're my favorite plant. No, I love you. And I'm talking to them.
It makes a difference.
I have created, and I will take I created this because I used to, when I say I hated being here, I hated being here. I was so unhappy here. And now I love it. Yes, it's temporary. I'm not going to be here forever. but it's become this magical space, and my little dog loves it and my turtle loves it. And I have these wonderful neighbors, and I'm so happy in this place. So just like it literally, there's been a ripple effect, 100% of my environment, which then ripples back to me because it makes me so happy. And then I would say the ripple effect that I find so interesting is that as someone who is out there on social media and putting herself out there, and doing it so very intentionally, and always in energy that I feel good in. But what's so interesting is that I will hear, there's a woman who's now a client of mine and a dear friend, and I just adore her. Laura, she would not mind me telling this story at all, but she reached out to me. So back in 2021, I published a journal on Amazon. It's still available. I love my journal. I use this journal every day.
I love it.
That journal. And so I received a DM on Instagram from this woman, Laura, and she said, hey, I've been using your journal and I've been listening, and between your journal and following your tips that you share on Instagram, I've lost, I think it was like 12 pounds or something.
Amazing.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Wow. I'm so happy that you told me. So what was so interesting is she had never commented, there's people that comment a lot and you're very aware of in your community, which is awesome. Yeah. But I didn't know that she was there taking all of this in.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, it's so great to hear from you. And we had this really great conversation. Well, later she did some coaching with me and then joined when I did a group program. And Laura's gone on she came to me to lose weight, which is why women come to me. That's what they ask me for. She's lost 35 pounds, but
wow.
that's not
it.
She started dressing differently, carrying herself differently, entering the room differently. And she received an amazing promotion at her job. And now she has this job. It's a career that she loves, where before she was going to work. She started dating again. She was like, I'm never good. She's a couple of years older than I am. I'm about to turn 57. She's like, not ever. I didn't know what her dating situation was.
Which, by the way, not to interrupt, like the record should rip if anyone sees this video. Like, no, you're not. It's crazy. Anyway, keep going.
It's crazy to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm turning 57 in 3 months. But anyway, so Laura, I didn't know what Laura's, romantic situation was. One day she said, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I always said I was never going to start dating again, but I'm dating again and I'm having fun. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Okay. Laura is now in a relationship with a wonderful man, and they just got back from a trip to Italy. So if that's not a ripple effect, again, I didn't do all of this. Laura did all of this, but this is somebody who came to me and said, like, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm listening to what you're saying and I'm
resonating.
Yeah. But I didn't know that. And I am so grateful. So when I hear these stories, it's so heartwarming because we know that for all the people don't have to say anything.
No.
And, I'll give you another example. I have a dear friend, Susan, who is she's a bird photographer.
Oh, I love that.
Which is amazing.
That's incredible.
So Susan is not into all of my crazy health and wellness stuff. That's cool. But, what really lit me up is, so she really started she started doing this years ago and then just started going after it. She hired she started working with people to train her and learn more and started educating herself and taking these trips. And now Susan is like literally, she is the most amazing husband, most amazing family, and she's living the van life. She has a van and she is like down south somewhere taking pictures in a bog. But one day she told me that I was inspiring her. And I'm like, how am I inspiring you? And she's like, no, because you're going after these things. You're doing these things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's inspiring me to do these things that I want to do. So you and I are in this holistic health and wellness space that lights us up, but we don't know who we're inspiring, who's maybe sharing our message. And it's inspiring them in some way.
Absolutely.
So that's the stuff. Susan's living the van life, and I think it's the best thing ever. And to know that when we take this messy action, which is what all of us
That's what all of it is, everyone. That's what all of it is. It's all messy, no matter how you're doing it.
Yeah, I started.
That's why we get support from each other, because it's all messy.
Exactly. I started my website, taking pictures with a cracked iPhone 6. It was propped up with a carton of almond milk, and I would set the timer, go pose. So all messy action. It's always messy action. But when we take that messy action, we put ourselves out there, it's having a ripple effect, whether we ever see it or not.
And that I am so grateful that you shared that, because I think one really important thing I want to share with our audience, and then we'll start to wrap this up, but I want to ask you another question. And then we already know we're going to be doing another episode with Elizabeth about body confidence next. And then we'll see where that leads us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say this about what Elizabeth just shared with us. I know, because I've been there, that there are a lot of you listening who know you have a calling, who know you're here to be a leader. It's going to make me cry. Who know you're here to help change lives, but you're stuck. And because you're stuck, it's hard sometimes to have that confidence and belief all the time, right? You feel it in moments, you feel it in sparks, you feel it in moments when you're having a conversation like Elizabeth and I are having, and all of a sudden you find one of your tribe and you're like, yes, like I knew it, I'm onto something, I have a passion. And then you go home and you start to battle the inner stuff again. What I want to say to those of you who are just starting out, who are rising leaders, is please take to heart what Elizabeth just said. You have no idea how many people you're making a difference in the lives of. You have no idea. There are people right now, in fact, at the stage you're at, who you are inspiring. So I want you to remember that, because I think you're making such an important point, Elizabeth. And so thank you. And it's that please don't be afraid. Know that if you feel that, you can step into your leadership, and we need you out in the world, but there can be barriers there. I just thank you for sharing that ripple effect. You have no idea. And remember, just wherever you're at in your journey, you are making a difference in the lives of the people around you. And that matters. And you never know who's watching. It makes me think of this quote, or there might even be like a story or something I read about this, but it's like the kind of metaphor that we're all on a train. This is a journey. We are all, as society and humanity, we are all on this train together, people. So first of all, it's about time we start acting like it. We are all on this train together. And no matter where you're sitting on the train, there's some people sitting in front of you, and there's always going to be some people sitting behind you that need you in the place that you're in on your journey right now, right now, today. And I feel strongly that we are moving into a time where it is time for us as women, especially, to follow that calling. We need you all out in the world. So anyway, thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. It just brings that really up to the forefront for me. And I just know sometimes you need to hear that you make a difference and you matter, because sometimes, like we've both talked about today in this episode, just because we're happy and enthusiastic and appreciative and healthy and aligned doesn't mean you don't experience doubt and unhelpful feelings. And in those moments, I hope you can remember this conversation that we're having today.
Yes.
So Elizabeth, before we start to wrap up this episode, I'd love to ask you this. Just a basic question really is, why is your health a top value for you? It's obvious that you intentionally value it. I am a values-based woman, so I live my life according to values. I actually remember when we first talked, I think I showed you, I have on my desk a little card where I keep my values. So they're staring me in the face all the time. And of course, health and well-being are at the top of that value list for me. So I'd love to ask you, as a woman who intentionally values her health and well-being, why? What's your why?
It feels, it's another one of my little phrases that I use all the time, is it feels so good to feel so good.
Yes.
Like it's so to
it.
me, health is, so I'm similar to you. I have these goals that are values also, and they're next to my bed and they're in my journal and they're staring me in the face all the time. And I can say them in my sleep. And so I say them out loud as affirmations. But the first one is, I am in the best shape of my life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Oh,
So I am. So I really, and I could tell you today.
She is, ladies and gentlemen.
But I am in the best shape of my life in all of those areas. So it's looking at this as a constant process. It's never ending because it's exciting, because I want to get better, not in a competitive way. Yes, sometimes I give myself fun little challenges, but much more in a, how can this feel even better to me?
I love that.
I want to feel good in my body. It feels so good to get out of bed, not just feeling physically strong. Like I like to feel like strong in my core.
Yeah.
Feeling like mentally clear-headed, mentally sharp. And I know that I am sharper now than I was even a few years ago. Mental clarity is better than it was. Some of that is through nutritional stuff, things like that. A lot of that is the space that I'm in, and eliminating some distractions. And then being in the best shape of my life emotionally doesn't mean I'm happy 24/7.
Right.
But again, it's everything that we talked about. And then spiritually, how connected do I feel? So to me, that's health. And that is my top value, my top priority, because when I have those things, then I have more to, again, it's not my duty to give to others, but ultimately I have so much more to offer. Again, the best thing we can do for the whole world is to make the most of ourselves. So I have more to bring to my relationships when I can be more fully present when I'm feeling my best.
Yeah.
And I have so much more to bring to my business, to my clients, to, and to just the women that are to all of the amazing women that are in my community. If I am taking care of myself on that level, then I have just so much more to offer. I have more energy, I have more creativity. I'm more lit up about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm excited about the day. I will sleep better at night and be more energized, all of these things. So that's why my health is so important to me. But ultimately I'm doing it for myself. It's because I want to feel good. It feels good to feel good.
I love that. And I love that your why is for you, not for someone else, because that just means everything. We should be doing it for ourselves, because when we do it for ourselves, then we're doing it for real. And then it means something so much more. We should love ourselves enough to have no problem and have the fullest confidence saying, I do exactly what you just said. It feels good to feel good. Yeah. And why would I not want to feel good? Because it's from that foundation that, like you just shared, everything else, we complicate everything, people. That's what we do as humans, right? We make everything hard. Everything's hard. Everything's a struggle. Oh my God. We are so dramatic. But when we do that, when we are aligned in mind, body, and spirit, and we're connected with ourselves and our own health and well-being, then honestly, everything really is easier.
It is. And that's
right. Isn't it a whole lot easier to just be pleasant in your daily interactions when you feel good, rather than feeling anxious or constipated, or you have a headache or you're stressed? Isn't it easier? It's just easier.
Everything is easier. And that's the thing. So then when I do have that day where maybe I'm not feeling,
and we all have it. I had one yesterday. I had one of those days. I was like, what's up with me?
I had one Tuesday, and it was like, okay, I'm going to just let myself feel this. I'm going to say I feel kind of crappy today, physically and emotionally. It was, and I knew where it was coming from. And I even saw where I did some of it to myself. I was like, okay, I'm going to roll with this. I accept this, because then, boy, does it feel good to get up the next day and say, oh, I'm back. and I needed that. And that was a little reset. And that was actually, and that was a good thing, but it feels good to feel good.
Amen.
And we deserve to again, we deserve to love our physical appearance and all of this.
We deserve to get to enjoy it.
Yes.
And to feel thriving. Elizabeth, you are amazing.
So are you.
I cannot wait to have you on our next episode. So watch out, everybody. We'll be doing a follow-up episode to this, part 2, where Elizabeth and I are going to tackle the topic of body confidence. I think that is extremely important.
Oh, and I have
I'm so excited for your perspectives on this, because this is, and let's face it, we know in society in general, this is a very big hot topic right now. So I think it's a really important one for us to talk about. But Elizabeth, will you tell our listeners how to find you, how to connect with you? If you've got anything going on, tell us about it.
Absolutely. Okay. Best place to connect with me is on Instagram. And I know we can drop a link in the show notes.
Yes. All the links for Elizabeth will be in the show notes, everyone. So we got you back.
It's a long handle, but I'm happy, healthy, and hot _ Elizabeth. So
I love it.
Spelled out. So it's a long handle. But if you see that, you'll recognize me right away. That is the best place to connect. I am very active there. I do respond to messages. That's
great.
I really, that is my community. Facebook, it's my personal Facebook page, Elizabeth Diehl Resnick. I post some of my content there. I'm not as active. We can put a link to my little, to my webpage.
Absolutely.
And I do have a journal on Amazon.
Yeah. Tell us about that, because that sounded awesome.
Yes. So it's the Happy, Healthy, Not Journal, 90 Days to Love Your Body and Your Life. And I created what I wanted and what my clients wanted. And that was a place there are sections, it's really big. So lots of space to write in.
I'm a journal fanatic.
I am too. 90 days to me is short enough to commit to something and long enough to see results.
Absolutely.
Every day is a little section for some mindset stuff. There's, a little gratitude list. What's your intention for the day? What's your affirmation? And then a space to track what you're eating, because I believe it's really beneficial. It's not about macros or any of that, but the self-awareness.
Just the simple what. Yes. I often tell people, if we do that when I do that with clients too, sometimes, and I always tell them, do not write down calories. And I don't want to know any of that shit. Yeah. Just the what, because how do we know? Like, it's like you said, it's awareness, because, and behavior change research shows us this. How do we really know what we need to change if we can't look at ourselves and see what we're doing? So it's really helpful.
It's about holding yourself accountable, being honest
Absolutely.
with yourself, building self-awareness.
Yes.
And then
Beautiful.
Also a little area to check, track your exercise. Again, I don't care how many calories you burned, any of that, but just to write down, I did
this for accountability.
I did my walk. And then
it feels good.
At the end of every 7 days, wherever you start, doesn't matter. There's a weekly check-in. And I do this myself. I'm on my 8th Happy, Healthy, Not Journal. So I've been doing this for 2 years. And because it works. And
I love women that practice what they preach, like me. So important.
And so it just feels good to me. I can look back when I have that weekly check-in. I look back and it has a chance to celebrate what you did well, and then get real with yourself about what could I improve on?
Absolutely. I love that. In fact, I'm going to order one. I'm a journal nerd, and I love that. It's so important. It just, like you said, helps us. It's a tool. What it really is a fantastic tool to help you stay in that alignment and connection with yourself.
100%. And I just think there's something so powerful about putting pen to paper.
Yes, there is. It's a different energy. That's actually why to this day, I still have right here a physical planner. I don't like to put things in my phone, because I get something out of the act of writing it down and then getting to go in and check it off and cross it off. I get something from that I just can't get from the phone.
there is science behind it. And then of course,
there is
pen that you like I'm very specific with my pens.
Me too. I'm a pen nerd. I'm a pen nerd. Also, I love just like little weird thing about me. I'm an office supply nerd. So like if I go to the store and I see like neat shaped paper clips or things, I'm like,
binder clips are my thing.
I'm also a Post-it queen too. I've got so many colors and shot sizes and shapes and just what great inventions. Isn't it fun to be a human?
I know. There's so much out there. It's so much it's a great time to be alive.
It is a great time to be alive. That's an important thing to say. And I think a beautiful way to end our first episode. So Elizabeth, thank you for sharing yourself so honestly and openly. These are the kinds of conversations that are going to impact an even bigger ripple effect than you've already had. So thank you for everything you do. Thank you for serving. And I can't wait to talk to you in part 2.
I can't either. And thank you so much for having me, Elizabeth.
I love you.
Love you too.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with Dr. Elizabeth Rogers. To learn more about my work and ways you can get support to transform your own health, head to my website, drelizabethrogers.com. Don't forget, Rogers has a D and a G. You can find a link in the show notes too. I hope you can feel the big boost of positive energy I'm sending all around right now. Can't wait to connect with you on the next episode.